The cold steel of the gun pressed harder against her temple, a stark contrast to the warm afternoon sun on her skin. On a quiet, tree-lined street, decorated police officer Mark Donovan held a single mother at gunpoint. Her only crime? Politely declining his advances. He had assumed she was just another pretty face, an easy target to intimidate in his picture-perfect neighborhood. He never imagined the woman in the red silk dress had the power to ruin him with a single phone call.
"And who's this little guy?" Donovan asked, softening his expression. "This is my son, Leo," Claire said protectively. "Leo, say hi to the officer." "Lo," Leo mumbled, hiding further in her dress. "Good-looking kid. Takes after his mom," Donovan said, his eyes returning to Claire. The compliment hung heavy, layered with something darker. "So, what brings a woman like you out to the suburbs?" "Fresh start. Good schools," Claire replied carefully. He stepped closer, crossing the invisible line between sidewalk and property. The scent of his cologne was sharp, invasive. "Well, you made the right choice. Safest square mile in the state. I make sure of it." He lingered, masking interrogation as small talk. Property taxes, pizza spots, but his attention never wavered. Every question probed. Husband, boyfriend, anyone to challenge him. Claire just wanted him to leave, to return to her peaceful yard. But Donovan stood unmoving, casting a long shadow over her new life. "Well, very nice of you to stop by, officer," she said, glancing at her watch, signaling the need to end the conversation. "The park's a great idea, not too crowded. I could show you the best spot by the duck pond. Little guy would love it," he offered, but the warmth was gone, replaced with subtle menace. "That's kind of you to stop by, officer," she said, keeping her voice calm. Donovan's flicker. "A routine, huh? My ex-wife was like that with our kids." He mentioned his ex deliberately, attempting camaraderie. Claire felt trapped. "How about this? Later tonight, after he's asleep, let me buy you a drink. Just a friendly welcome."
Stripping away pretense. The pressure tightened in her chest. "I appreciate it, but my evenings are spoken for," Claire said, shielding Leo, her voice steady. Donovan's charm vanished. His blue eyes went cold. "Spoken for?" he repeated, voice low and hard. "Who are they spoken for with? A boyfriend hiding in the house?" "No, of course not. Just busy unpacking," she replied, her heart racing. He scoffed, stepping closer. "A lot of women would be grateful for a man like me, respectable officer, pillar of the community, and you say no?" Claire's voice trembled slightly. "I have the right to decline. My personal life is my own." "Rights," he hissed, leaning close, the smell of coffee and something sour on his breath. "I'm the one who decides who has them in this town, who responds when you call 911, who writes tickets. You should think about that." The threat was unmistakable. Claire felt the weight of her son trembling behind her. Her only thought, get him inside, get away. "We're going inside now," she whispered, taking a step back, pulling Leo closer. "I don't think so," Donovan said, moving to block her path. "Our conversation isn't over." "Yes, it is," she insisted, voice firmer. He laughed darkly. "You giving me orders now? Rich. Go inside and I can't guarantee your safety. Break-ins happen. Single mom alone. Shame." Claire instinctively moved toward her car, a desperate thought of safety. He mirrored her movement, shadowing her every step. "That's a nice car. Must have a generous ex-husband," he commented, eyes raking over the silver sedan. Her hands fumbled for the keys. Finally, she unlocked the door, gunmetal cold in her mind, her fingers trembling as they found her phone. "Who are you calling?" Donovan demanded. "Just the babysitter," she lied, voice breathy, sliding the phone into position. Her thumb hovered over her brother's name, Stephen. The phone rang. Donovan watched, the gun still pressed against her temple. "Claire, everything okay?" Stephen answered on the third ring. "There's an officer here," she whispered, trembling. He's very insistent. Officer Mark Donovan." A brief silence on the line. Donovan laughed. "What's Stephen going to do? Call his girlfriend to save her?" "Just tell him I can't talk," she said, voice breaking, keeping her act together. "I'm fine. I have to go." "Don't hang up, Claire." Stephen's voice was sharp and commanding. "Stay on the line. I'm coming. Just stay calm. I'm sending help." Before she could reply, the sound she had been praying for cut through the tension. A distant whisper at first, then louder, urgent. Sirens. One, then two, then a chorus of them converging on Willow Creek Lane. Donovan's head snapped up, his mocking grin evaporating as confusion and disbelief registered across his face. This wasn't a routine patrol. This was an entire city responding. He glanced at Claire, her phone pressed to her ear, her eyes betraying fear, but beneath it, a resolute steel that made his stomach drop. "Who the hell is Stephen?" he demanded, panic seeping into his voice. The gun in his hand began to tremble. Claire finally met his gaze. Her terror had shifted into something colder, sharper. "You want to know who I was calling?" she said. Her voice was steady, chilling. "I called my brother, Mayor Stephen Hayes." The name hit Donovan like a physical blow. Mayor. The words refused to compute. This wasn't a bluff. It couldn't be. But the approaching sirens, the flashing red and blue lights painting the quiet neighborhood, told a story Donovan couldn't escape. "No, you're lying," he whispered, disbelief etched into every syllable. "Am I?" Claire's voice was calm, unflinching. Her moment of vulnerability had vanished, replaced by controlled authority. The first patrol car screeched to a halt, 20 yards away. Doors flew open. Officers he knew, men he had called friends, weapons drawn, took cover behind their vehicles. "Donovan, put the weapon down now," one shouted, disbelief and anger mixing in his voice. Trapped. He was trapped. And Claire saw the panic flicker in his eyes, a wild, cornered animal. "Don't even think about it," Claire warned, voice low and sharp. "It's over, Mark. You've already lost. Every second you keep that gun on me is digging your own grave deeper." More cars arrived, boxing him in. Unmarked sedans, agents in suits from the FBI and Internal Affairs. The command structure of the city was descending on him, and the predator had become prey. The gun shook in his hand, his control, his arrogance, his entitlement, all evaporated. The weapon clattered to the asphalt. Donovan's hands went up, a hollow gesture of surrender. Too little, too late. A sleek black town car pulled silently up behind the swarm of officers. The back door opened. Mayor Stephen Hayes stepped out. Not the public politician, not the polished mayor, but the protective older brother. His eyes locked on Claire and Leo. Claire had already scooped her sobbing son into her arms, shielding him as the chaos unfolded. Stephen moved through the scene with calm precision, a force of authority that parted the sea of uniforms and agents. He wrapped them both in a fierce embrace, burying his face in Claire's hair. Silent fury radiated from him. After a moment, he pulled back, scanning Claire for injuries. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. "Did he hurt you?" "We're okay," Claire whispered, voice shaky, "just scared." He knelt to Leo's level, gently wiping the tears from his cheeks. "Hey, buddy, Uncle Stephen's here. Everything is going to be okay now. No one will ever scare you like that again." Only then did he turn to Donovan, kneeling on the asphalt in handcuffs. The mayor approached slowly, every step deliberate. "Officer Donovan," he said, voice icy calm. "Look at me." Donovan forced his gaze upward, shame and terror filling his eyes. "You're going to spend a long time thinking about this afternoon," Stephen said, measured, every word cutting. "Thinking from a prison cell. thinking about the woman and child you terrorized. And I will personally oversee dismantling the system that let a man like you wear a badge, starting with you and everyone who covered for you. Understood?" Donovan could only manage a weak nod. Stephen turned back to Claire, draping his suit jacket over her shoulders. "Let's go home," he said softly, leading her and Leo to the waiting car. Behind them, law enforcement scrambled. FBI agents moved in, and the system Donovan had abused began tearing itself apart. Investigations uncovered buried complaints, ignored by those sworn to enforce justice. Officers who had turned a blind eye now faced scrutiny. The rot within the department was exposed, dismantled by the courage of one woman and the power of her brother. And the footage of that final confrontation played again.
Standoff went viral. Donovan's entitlement and rage became a public symbol of abuse of power. Media outlets dissected his decorated career and previously ignored complaints. His life was over in the span of an afternoon. The community, shocked and ashamed, finally saw the truth. Weeks later, in the quiet of the mayoral mansion, Claire sat wrapped in a blanket, chamomile tea in hand. Leo slept peacefully. Stephen, tie loosened, suit jacket off, sat across from her. "How are you doing?" he asked, a brother's concern replacing the politician's polish. "I'm still shaking," Claire admitted, voice soft. "Every time I close my eyes, I see that gun." "He's not going to hurt anyone ever again," Stephen said firmly. "I promise." Claire looked at him, realizing that her fear had sparked a change far beyond her driveway. "It could have been anyone," she whispered. "Those other women, the ones who were ignored, they weren't me. He could have kept doing it." "That's why this has to be bigger than him," Stephen said. "We're changing everything. New leadership, DOJ investigation, transparency, accountability. No one should fear those who protect them." Claire watched him, seeing the brother she had grown up with, the one who always stood up to bullies. And now he had done it again, on a city-wide scale. A faint smile touched her lips. "Good," she said simply. Days passed, and Claire and Leo began reclaiming their home, their street, their lives. Neighbors apologized, shared pie, and rebuilt trust. Lavender bushes were replanted, and visits to the duck pond became a new routine. Their life would no longer be defined by terror, but by resilience and courage. The storm had passed, and the quiet that followed carried the promise of a safer dawn, one where truth and justice were the most powerful weapons of all.